What is up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 89 of Thinktwice, the magic and pop culture show hosted by me, Justin Parnell, and my co-host, Ali
Aintrazi. That's it.
Dude.
We're being serious.
Oh.
Being serial.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't get the memo for that one.
Yeah. So I will say, though, Waffles' name is now Waffles.
Okay.
It is no longer Bucks.
Okay. So, why don't you give us the full rundown? Why don't you tell us a story? Why don't you regale us the tale?
You mean do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Well, let me set the stage.
How about, no, you just do it, because I know you want to do it.
Last week, Ollie introduced on this podcast essentially the world to the future pupper in the Aintrazi household, which at that time was going to be named Bucks. And I said on this podcast, I was like, I don't think that's a good name. And Ollie was like, well, fine. Why don't you think of a better name? So then I did.
He gave me a list of 5 names. I liked one of them. Meredith actually gave me a list as well.
You liked none of them, to clarify.
No, it's not true. I liked hers too. That one just stuck out because it's like goofy, and I like goofy things. Yeah, I mean, I play like goofy decks, so it makes sense. Then I ran it by Twitch chat. Like, Twitch chat, what do you want? What sounds better, Waffles or Bucks? And Waffles was a clear winner.
Clear winner. Clear winner. So
now he is Waffles.
Yes. You hear that, Meredith? That's right.
What? Oh, that his name is Waffles?
Yeah. Because she was upset that...
Why?
Because she was like, I put so much thought into all of my names, and you just said the first thing that you thought of a bunch of times. And I was like...
Me?
No, that I did.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, but the difference is I know the type of things that Ollie likes. So I know if it's something that's silly and cute, that he's going to like it.
Yeah, that's true.
And here we are with Waffles.
Yeah,
Waffles and Maggie.
To be fair, you initially said waffle.
I did say
I was
waffle.
like, we need the S.
That's
we need
fine.
the Waffles.
Yeah.
Mr. Waffle sounds better than Mr. Waffle.
Yeah, that's a small change. Small change.
Yeah.
I'll accept.
So what did you like last weekend?
Let's see.
There was a shiny event, right?
There was. I did not get to do that. However, because we were having some company over to have dinner and play board games. But I went to Kroger to get some food for Meredith to cook, and while I was at Kroger, I caught 2 shiny Trecos out of like the 10 that I clicked on.
Nice. That's awesome.
I was like, all right, and I have exactly enough, almost exactly. I had like 275 candy, so I evolved both of those, got the exclusive move, and I was like, all right, well,
done.
That'll work. Yep. Did you go Pokemon going?
Yeah, I did the event. Got a couple shinies. I didn't go for the full event though. Like, it's not something I'm excited about or wanted to do for the full time.
Yeah.
So I just caught a couple shinies, evolved a couple, and then I was done.
Okay. Yeah, this was the best shiny to time spent ratio that I've ever had for a community day event. Because it was literally like as I was in Kroger and then driving home. It was pretty incredible. Like, I didn't even have to do anything necessarily. That's good, because
he's like, I don't know. Some of them just seem super underwhelming. This one was underwhelming. Like, the bonus also, like, they each have like a bonus sometimes too.
Yeah.
And this bonus was like 4 times hatch during the event.
Yeah, whatever.
Which is cool, but it's not as cool as like triple Stardust or triple
Stardust. Mainly triple Stardust. That's kind
triple
of
Stardust. Yeah. That's like when I want to play the whole event, because like triple Stardust is a lot of freaking Stardust.
Yes, it is. Especially if you put on the star piece and it's 4.5 times Stardust.
Which of course you do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing if you're not putting on the star piece?
Yeah, you're messing up.
You're messing up. So I did that, and we played some board games. I've actually posted these in the board games thread in our Discord. I played 2 games. One was called Starship Samurai, where you play as like a space fleet that's led by these gigantic samurai mechs.
Nice.
It's actually a pretty fun game. The mechanics of the game are actually really well done. I definitely want to play it again. And then the second game I played was called Dinosaur Island, which is basically like you're making your own Jurassic Park. It's pretty much exactly that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. The concept's really cool. The game there's a lot going on, a little too much in my opinion. It was a little daunting to play for the first time. There's a lot to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So there were definitely like that one was not as easy to grasp. The Starship Samurai game was very strategy intensive. There's not like a ton of different there's like 4 different actions you can take, but the order that you take them in and the resources you put into each of them is like very dramatic. So that's really good because it's pretty simple, but it's very deep. And then this was just like there's 12 different paths that you can take, and you can ignore some of them, but I don't know. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. It's still fun,
sure.
Still fun.
Yeah.
But,
sounds like it's hard to explain board games without actually playing them, but
yeah, especially in
sounds
in like a minute and a half.
Yeah. I did make a switch from Streamlabs or XSplit to Streamlabs.
Oh my god.
OBS, yeah.
I cannot believe it.
I had Barman help me. He is a person that has helped me a lot with Twitch stuff and setting things up. But luckily, Streamlabs OBS literally just imported all my Streamlabs stuff, and it was
your XSplit,
my notifications. No, because I always had everything registered to Streamlabs.
Oh yeah.
All my notifications, all my donations, everything, and it popped up in XSplit. So when I downloaded Streamlabs OBS, it literally just poured all that into it, and it was just like
account.
Yeah, and it was great.
When they combined Streamlabs and OBS into Streamlabs OBS, it's like there's no reason to not have this now.
After I did try it, I'm just like, wow, this is kind of absurd.
I'm glad you listened last week because we talked and we're just like, hey, look, I know you paid for this, but
I bit the bullet.
You did, and you're better off for it.
And then it's like a whole day resetting my Stream Deck thing and bosses and stuff, but it was worth it.
Yeah, well, that's good. That makes me happy to hear. And then on Tuesday, you had like the most viewers you ever had, which can only be as a direct result of switching over to Streamlabs OBS.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't see any other correlation.
It just sucks, man. It just sucks. Like I pay like $200 some for a full-time license or lifetime license, and then just like here's this free one that's just better. Yeah. I'm not just saying that. Like I'm not getting anything for saying this, but I paid for the other one. But yeah, it's just. Yeah, I was like, you know what? In the past, I've held on to things I should not have held on to. I should have let go of them earlier. I'm done. I'm gonna go with this one.
That's good. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's happy to hear. That's a big step for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of big steps, Ollie, we had a question of the week last week.
We did.
A big step for everyone is doing your taxes every year, but. What if you were choosing a planeswalker to do your taxes? That was what we asked everyone last week. Ollie, Azor got 47% of the vote. Jace got 42% of the vote. Other planeswalkers got a combined 12% of the vote. You selected Azor. I completely disagree, but it is clear that the people are on your side.
Yeah. They are on my side. Azor is the Lawbringer. Azor is... Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, I won. Yay.
I just don't think you're getting a tax refund back. I think he's going to allocate all that money that you would have gotten.
Parnell, it's over.
You're right. No. Scoreboard.
It's over.
No, you get it. Yep. You win. Scoreboard it is. For next week, our next week topic is going to be a Netflix show. And this is a show called Love, Death, and Robots. And we're going to do the first 6 episodes. They're very short. I think...
They're just like 10 minutes long. I think the average number is like 10 minutes. There's one that's like 5 minutes long. There's some that's 6. There's one that's 17. But they average like 10 minutes each one. So you can knock 6 out pretty easily, like in an hour or so.
Yeah, I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes for all of these.
It's something pretty easy.
Yep. So should be able to do this if you have Netflix. So if you want to join that conversation next week, then Love, Death, Robots, episodes 1 through 6. Now, if we like it, then we're gonna go and maybe we'll do the rest of the season. I think there's 18 episodes. So,
yep. One last thing before we move on. Have you watched any more episodes of The Promised Neverland?
I haven't.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. All right. If you would like to support the podcast, you can always leave us a review on one of the several audio platforms that we are on. You can leave us a review. You can share it. You can subscribe to it. Do all that good stuff. Click the like button. Any of that stuff helps get the Thinktwice name out there. And of course, if you want to share us. You can share us however you want. But if you want to support us further than that, you can go to patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. We have a lot of great rewards tiers, including on our $10 tier. We are coming up on our next episode of our redesigned Flashback, which is a short podcast, 30 to 40 minutes, once a month, not safe for work, on any topic we want. And this month, for March, it's going to release in the very beginning, early April. Ali and I are talking about Game of Thrones, comparing the television show and the novels, and we're going to have our first Flashback guest, and that's going to be Stephen Green, who you probably know as the other, my nemesis on Commander Versus, but real life good friend. So Stephen's going to be joining us, talking about Game of Thrones, which he is very knowledgeable on. And we're really excited for you guys to hear this episode.
I'm ready.
We also want to thank our newest Patreon supporter. I know who this is. I believe I know who this is. However, they did not leave their name. They did not sign up with their name. So, thank you to Basic Swamp.
Basic Swamp.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fold.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I know who this is, but they did not leave their name. Actually, I'm 100% sure who I know who this is, but they didn't leave their name, so Basic Swamp it is. Basic Swamp, thank you. Welcome to the Think Twice family. Okay. Oh, you ready to get to segment number 1?
I've been asking you that the past hour.
Well, yeah, but I've just been talking over you. But are you ready now?
I know. Let's go. Yep,
Great.
let's go.
All right. In that case, we're going to take a short break. When we return, 1, 2 standard decks. 2 standard decks. Duo standard. That's what we're talking about. All right. Be back in just a moment. Mr. Aintrazi.
Yes.
PAX East and the Mythic Invitational is either coming up tomorrow if you're us, or has already been going on a couple of days if you're not us and you're listening to this podcast later. 64-person event. Half MPL, half people that Wizards has seemingly randomly selected to represent them in this event. And they're going to be playing a new format.
Best of 1 arena Magic called Duo Standard.
Yeah, so Duo Standard. Duo Standard is a new format that Wizards has created for this event that they're playing exclusively on MTG Arena. So this is going to be the first event of its kind, essentially, and that it is a Wizards-hosted arena event. So not paper, on MTG Arena. Now, we have seen a couple other events. All you participated in a few Twitch Rivals events that have been on Arena, yeah. But this is the big time.
Also, I finally found out why I wasn't invited. Twitch chat told me.
Oh, what did Twitch say? Obviously, the knowledgeable and never
the all foreseeing Twitch chat.
Yeah, the all knowing.
That named Waffles. They said it was because I would have crashed their game while playing Smothering Emergency. I would have cast emergency powers.
Yeah.
Where Smothering Tithe out and copy like 20 times, and then cause the game to lag out and break.
Yeah, that's not a good look. It's not a good look for them. They can't.
I thought it was funny. Obviously, just to be clear, not being serious, or they're not being serious, but I just found it funny.
But they're not 100% not being serious either.
You never know.
You never know. Do you think you should have been invited to this event?
No.
Okay.
Do I think I should have?
Yeah.
I'm biased.
I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this question, but here we are.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I said no because like
you don't want to be cocky.
I feel like and I feel like I should say no.
I think you should have been invited to this event.
I feel like saying no is the quote correct answer, but I do. For whatever reason, though, I wasn't, and that's okay.
Yep.
Hopefully next time.
Yep. I mean, that's a good attitude to have. As not you, I don't have to worry about being cocky because I don't think I should have been invited to this event. So I'll talk about why I think you should have been. Yesterday, which was Tuesday night, March 26th, I was streaming for my audience of 20 some people, and Ali is streaming for an audience of 1,700 people. Now, you could say, well, that's because Kenji and Caleb are playing in the Invitational, so Ollie was the number one streamer. You're right. Okay, so I guess by that metric, if they're there, then Ollie would be the number 3 streamer for the whole game.
Why number 3?
I'm just saying if people are making an
argument.
Oh,
sure. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, if people are making an argument, it's a tough argument to make against Ali because has the fastest growing audience of any streamer. He arguably plays the most fun decks, certainly the most creative decks that a lot of other people that are playing Magic for content, streaming, or otherwise borrow. So
that's a good word. It's a good word to use. Actually, not a good word, but we'll go with that word.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And I think that Ali is a great representative of this game. He's also he's not a white man.
That is correct.
So,
I am in fact brown. I
Yeah.
am in fact from the Middle East.
Lebanon. So
Yep. There's no one. I don't think there's anybody representing from the Middle East.
Mm,
Maybe there is. Shahar. Maybe Shahar is. Wait,
Israel. Yeah.
Yep, Shahar is.
counts.
Never mind. I lied. That does count. Yep, Shahar is.
But Shahar's in the
There's one.
MPL, so it actually doesn't count.
Does it not? I don't know.
Well, no, because he kind of counts because he's in the MPL. Like Shahar made it from regardless of where he was, like where he is representing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's BS that you're not there, but you're here. We're doing this podcast, and the next time you're going to be in this event, then you're going to win because this is literally your wheelhouse, Ollie.
All right. It is. I actually love Best of 1. I like it more than Best of 3, which is crazy because if you asked me that, like, if you told me, Ollie, next year, like, told me this last year, next year you'll be playing a lot of Best of 1 Magic, which is no sideboard games, just play one game and that's it.
Ollie. You definitely have sideboards.
Sure. Well, yes, you playing one game of Magic, and that's it. And you'll be playing that more than Best of 3, and you'll be enjoying it. I'm like, I don't think so. Magic's Best of 3 format, and then now just like I really enjoy Best of 1. It's just I enjoy the fast pace. I enjoy the like. I don't have to get stuck with playing against Control or Nexus Fate or Curious Obsession. Here's the thing: Standard is very healthy, but it has some of the most annoying decks ever in Standard. Mono Red is super annoying. Like, they have Frenzy, Steamkin, and Light Up the Stage, which are all very like powerful, but cards that feel almost too powerful. But luckily, all decks have have these cards. Mono Blue has Curious Obsession, which is an absurd magic card. We have Niv Mizzet, which we all know how good that card is. We have Hydra Crisis. We have like things like Dauntless Vanguard. Well, Mono White's whatever, actually. But it's mostly those cards that are like not fun to play against, right?
That are kind of, I would say game warping to a degree.
Yes, and can easily take over the game by themselves.
Yeah, I think all the cards you described fit that bill.
Oh yeah, Teferi. I forgot about Teferi. I'm not sure if I forgot about that one. And also Thought Eraser's kind of annoying too. So it's
I don't think Thought Eraser's in the same.
It's not the same league. It's just annoying. It's just annoying. It's annoying for someone to go like Duress, Thought Eraser, Thief of Sanity, or Thought Eraser, Campaign, whatever. It's like, okay,
yeah,
whatever. All right, my hand's gone.
Yeah, it sounds like what I like to do, but keep going.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, so I'm glad it is better that all these decks have these tools, like these really powerful cards, but it's also it's not fun to play against like a lot of these decks for a long period of time. So I think this is why I've gravitated so much towards best of one, because I can also forgot Nexus Fate. So I can avoid these like decks and by not having to play them for like 3 games. I can just play like 1 game and move on from my life. Like if I lose, okay, I lost. It sucks.
But it was quick.
But then the next one starts and I can just forget and keep going. So yeah.
So for Duo Standard, you are selecting 2 60-card decks, and you're playing a best of 3 with those 2 decks. For the first game, each person is going to have one of those 2 decks randomly selected, and then they'll play that game against each other. For game 2, the remaining deck that each person did not play will be selected for that person. They'll play that game against each other. Then if it goes to a game 3, each person will choose in secret their own one of the 2 decks and then play that one. So game 3 is really when you get the choice of which deck to play, and presumably you're making that decision based on the other 2 decks that your opponent presented to you in the prior 2 games.
Yep.
So what makes this format so different than just even just normal best of 1? Obviously, it's very different than best of 3 for all the reasons that we've said today and previously when we've been talking about best of 1. But why is Duo Standard different?
What do you mean? Why is it different? Like what are you asking me exactly?
Well, what makes this different from just regular best of 1?
Well, it's the fact that you have to pick 2 decks, and one has to. You'd want one that's like a cannon, right? Yeah. One that destroys most of the field, like 75% of the field, but can't beat this one deck.
Yeah.
Then you want your other deck to beat that one deck that you can't beat, or beat that the 2 archetypes you can't beat. That is how I would go into this.
Yeah. So you're going in with like you said, with a glass cannon that you're literally, for most decks, presenting something they're not able to deal with.
Yes. And then, but then there's like probably 2 or 3 decks, 1 to 3 decks that you can't beat because you are so basically almost like pre-boarded to beat everything else.
Yeah.
Which you are.
Those decks in the metagame.
Exactly. Yep. I think that's what this means.
Yeah.
I feel like going this tournament and playing like Rakdos mid-range and Gruul mid-range is incorrect.
Yeah.
You are that is like quote unquote safe, but your reward is not nearly as high as if you did the other way around.
I completely agree. I actually think it's pretty unsafe because if you're doing
that's why I said in air quotes safe. People think it's safe.
Yes.
Because it's like a mid-range deck and it's really not.
Yeah, but okay, so I guess to explain why we think that it's very unsafe, if you're doing that, for both of your decks, you're essentially going to every single game and you're flipping a coin. But your opponent might not be flipping a coin. Your opponent might be flipping a weighted coin. At least one of the times, because most likely if they have done their homework and they're choosing, if they've chosen an 80-20 deck, then the decks that they're generally preying on are going to be these mid-range decks that try to have a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
So flipping a coin all tournament, you know what that usually means? It usually means you end up at a 50% win rate, and that's not how you can win the tournament. Because a lot of the mid-range deck's power is you get to, after sideboard, you get to turn into the aggro deck, or you get to turn into the control deck, based on what you're playing against. You just don't get that option here.
Yeah, you lose it. You absolutely lose it. So the best decks are combo decks, fast decks, and when I say fast, I mean like mono red, mono white, or
mono blue,
or Boros, or even mono blue.
Yeah.
Those are fast decks. You want combo fast decks or anti-aggro, and that's like your chromatic black, your Dobin's Acuity deck lists, or your blue black Moment of Craving Duress deck list with also like Wrath's Contempt, less counter magic, more life gain.
Yep. Totally.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the axis is super fast aggro, combo decks, and then honestly, these usually end up being control decks, but I actually think that the third axis specifically is decks without creatures.
Yes. Yes. The biggest thing about Best of 1-2 that I've learned is you do not want to include cards in your deck, if possible, that are dead cards.
Lava Coil.
Yeah. Sorry, that can be dead cards.
Yes.
Like, if you want a removal spell, try to play things a lot more along lines of Vrasa's Contempt, because it is that card's very rarely dead.
Yep.
Especially in Best of 1 after Nexus Fate ban. Night of Autumn is also a safe one to play. Assassin's Trophy, like you've seen Golgari, instead of playing Cast Down, switch to Assassin's Trophy, and that's because it's very bad to have dead cards. Like you said, like there's some decks that just don't play creatures, so they turn up a lot of removal.
Yep.
Or they play creatures that don't care if they die, which is what Chromatic Black does. Like they play a Josie Vest kicked, you kill Josie Vest, sure, I still have all these tokens. You kill my 15 Hydro Crisis, it's okay, I drew 7 cards.
Yeah.
So that's what these decks do. They either completely bypass the removal by not playing creatures, or the creatures are just so absurd that creature removal doesn't matter.
Cards that only line up against one other card type, I think is what we're trying to say is bad. Like
so counterspells are good.
Yeah, counterspells are generally good. Cheap ones.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at like red removal spells, I think Lava Coil is not great, but Lightning Strike is good.
I agree.
Just because Lightning Strike can hit planeswalkers and hit players, so it adds you a little extra reach. Lava Coil does one thing really well. It kills creatures forever, but
it kills Phoenix, which is funny because like the people in Best of 1 have shifted to Lightning Strike, or have tried to, because it's better in Best of 1, and then people catch on and try and I don't know if they catch on or not, but they play Phoenix because Phoenix is so good against Lightning Strike, right?
Yep. And they're now starting to play. I think people are starting to play like Siege Gang Commander too.
Yeah, basically punish people for playing target removal, like Cast Down, Moment of Craving, etc., etc.
Yep. So it is. I do think I legitimately do think this is an interesting format, and I'm curious to see what comes out of it. As Ollie said, or he was alluding to earlier, Nexus of Fate is banned in exactly this format. It's banned in Best of 1 on Arena only. It's the only thing it's banned in. But since Duo Standard is technically a Best of 1, it is banned.
Unfortunately, I think it should not be banned.
Yeah,
but it's a different story.
No, let's talk about it. I don't think it should be banned either. I think that it's banned because for the multitude of people that are playing Arena, It is not a fun card to play against, but I think for competitive play, there's absolutely no reason it should be banned.
No, I think it's like, the reason it's banned is because there's basically essentially a bug on Arena where you can't stop someone from looping it when they have nothing else. And if you hit beyond that, the auto pass button does not work thanks to the Fate. You have to click OK each time.
Click done.
So
okay.
with those two things, it makes Nexus even more annoying. Like the card is already kind of pretty annoying when your opponent's taking 3, 4, 5 turns in a row. But it's even more annoying where I can't just be like, in paper, you're like, okay, you know what? F6, like I'm done. Like, dude, I'm watching. I can relax or whatever. No, like you have to click OK each time, and that's obnoxious.
Yeah. Instead of just hitting the space bar. Yeah.
So I wish they would have addressed that problem instead of banning it, because while Nexus of Fate, I agree, is annoying because of that regard, because it's basically essentially bugged on Empty Arena. There's many more cards that are equally as annoying and frustrating as Nexus. Like I alluded to earlier, Frenzy and Steamkin are literally make me pull my hair out. Niv Miz, it's annoying. Teferi is also like the same way. It's just like this dread of like, why is this card untap 2 lands? Like, why does it deal with any of the permanent? It's unreal. And then you have like Crisis, which is like, okay, I'm finally like attrition my opponent. Hopefully they don't draw this Crisis.
No, they drew it.
And yeah, it's frustrating. And then of course Mono Blue, where you get the games where you get every spell countered. Side quest, real quick. A lot of people say Mono Blue is super skill intensive and super hard to play. I just want to say I disagree. I think you have those games where the deck is difficult to pilot, but only when you don't have obsession. I think if you have an obsession and you have like you counter magic, it's basically your nut draw and you just win the game.
Yeah, the games where you play a creature and play an obsession on it on turn 2, and then
spell pierce and dive down.
Yeah,
which is feels like almost every game. It's not every game, but it feels like almost every game. Those games seem like free wins.
Because they mostly are, I think. Yeah.
Yep. But that being said, I also think Control is fairly easy to play as well these days. Teferi is just a huge. He's a fairy because he carries you. He's like your grandfather fairy. That's just like, hey, you messed up, I got you. Don't worry. Here, draw a card. Here, untap 2 lands.
Oh, did you forget? Did you forget to put a card in your deck that interacts with this permanent type? I got it. Any permanent deal. Here, I'll put it back. You counter it when it comes back.
Yeah. All
right. Thanks. Exactly. Thanks, Teferi.
Oh man, I'm about to deck myself. This game's gone so long. I got you. I got you, Sonny boy. I got you. Yeah. I mean, he's absurd. So I don't think Nexus should be banned because all those cards I mentioned are equally as frustrating. Like it's so funny because all these decks are like so degenerate and like not fun. If they were like, if one of these decks was the best deck, it'd be like Energy. Everyone would hate that deck, right? But luckily, they did do something right by making a healthy format by giving all the colors powerful cards.
Yeah, every deck has a tool that's gonna make life miserable for every other deck.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's fair.
I think printing cards like this, like printing more powerful cards in each color instead of like, okay, like instead of making one too strong, is definitely the first option is much better. Yeah. Having a lot of strong cards is much better than having one powerful card or one strong card.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Magic is certainly more powerful across the board now, but I think Standard is the healthiest it's been in a really long time.
Oh, I agree. I think it's healthy too, but I agree. I just think all the decks are not fun to play against when they have their nut draw.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't disagree. So, Ollie, before we finish this segment up, why don't you talk a little bit about Mastermind's acquisition?
Yeah, so I've been playing Mastermind's acquisition since it was printed back in Ixalan. I think I was playing like
Rivals
a
Vixlon,
black.
but yes.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I was playing like a black-green control deck with Our Promise and Mastermind. I was playing this card when it first came out. I was literally like probably the only one playing it competitively, and no, I was the only one playing competitively and putting up results with it. People, don't care about it or ignored it because it's Ali. And then finally, I did well. I made what I thought was the best Mastermind deck, which was Chromatic Black. Like, that was my goal. I was like, you know what? I love this card. Let me make the best deck I can with this card, and end up being Chromatic Black, which ended up winning a tournament and qualifying for the cube that Justin's cube was. Like, what is this, 10K?
Yep, $10,000 cube draft.
Yeah, so won that, and people across the world have picked the deck up and have tweeted at me or told me, "Hey, this deck's awesome. I've won so and so with it." So powerful deck, and a lot of it is because after like turn 5 or 6, Mastermind is literally the best card you could draw. It's essentially a Joker that transforms to anything. And in Best of 1, it allows you to access your sideboard, which basically gives you 15 cards extra. That it basically gives you a sideboard in Best of 1 when you don't really have one. I've been playing Mastermind in a lot of my decks. That and Treasure Map, but Treasure Map is a different topic. But now Mastermind is slowly catching on. People are now playing it in a lot of their. I've seen it in Esper. I've seen it in Dove and the QE decks. I've seen it in black-white decks. I've seen it in like some Amaru deck. I've seen it in Dimir. It's kind of funny how it's like slowly picking up steam. But I just want to say, I was here first.
And if you were listening to the Thinktwice podcast when, like way back when, let's see, Hour of Devastation, when that set came out was our first review. So if you've been listening all the way back then when we went through Rivals of Ixalan, you know that you've known the deal for a while now.
Yeah.
Ollie was first to the Mastermind's acquisition by a lot. So I don't know, maybe stick around if this is the first time listening to the podcast, because you can probably pick up on some stuff early that Ollie can impart his wisdom onto you.
Or Justin, where Justin said, "Hey, pick up I like penises, they're $3."
Yeah.
So.
Ollie will tell you the cards that are good, and I'll tell you the cards that are worth money.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly going to be trying to watch the Mythic Invitational. No doubt we will talk about it. We're gonna talk about this next week once we get on the other side of it. But anything else for this week, Ollie?
Last thing,
Yep.
If you were invited, Justin, what 2 decks would you take?
I think I would take the first deck that I would take would be a blue-black control deck, where essentially the only creatures are like 2 Dream Eaters. And otherwise, it's just the Duress, Thought Erasure,
Eldritch Reborn,
Karn. I take that deck because that's the deck that I've had that I've had by far the most success with in Best of 1 on Arena. And then I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure about the other deck.
Okay.
Definitely would take the blue black control deck though. I think that would be like that's the deck that I have the most practice with, that I actually think that I could do damage with. But the other one I don't know. What would you take?
I think I would take I would take Esper, Acuity, and Chromatic Black as my 2 decks.
Okay. Chromatic Black would be another one that I would if I was like preparing for this tournament. I think Chromatic Black would have been a deck that I would have like actually tried to build, because ever since you made that deck, I've like I've told you I was like this deck is fantastic. I don't have the cards for it on Arena. I don't have all of the cards for it, but obviously if I'm playing in a $1 million tournament, then I'm not gonna worry about being free to play anymore. I would have paid and made sure to practice for it. So
yeah, and the deck is just highly adaptable. You can make it beat aggro decks, which is the original list, or you can even make it beat like control decks with like Duresses and things main deck.
Yeah,
but you just give up your or some of your aggro.
Yeah. I think Chemistry's Insight's a really, really good card in this format.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's just like one of the best. Honestly, like one of the best cards.
Yeah, it turns your dead card into it's like draw 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
All right. Cool. All right. In that case, that's all for Duo Standard. We're going to come back next week and chat about the results of the Mythic Invitational. So, next up, we don't have any more War of the Spark information. We're going to get a lot of that coming at PAX East. But for now, we're going to take a little side quest for a whole segment, and we're going to discuss our custom cube project that we built many years ago and how you can use custom cards in cubes. Be back in just a moment. So you may have heard Ollie and I talking maybe a couple of months ago about a podcast that we appeared on called Solely Singleton, which is a cube-oriented podcast. And we were brought on by the hosts, Brad and Eric, to talk about the custom cube project, which we started almost 10 years ago. And if you want to hear more about that, you should definitely go find that episode of Solely Singleton. It's a good episode. We both had a lot of fun talking about it. So we're not going to talk too much about the custom cube project here, but we kind of want to use it to set up what we're going to be talking about, really. So the custom cube project was a 360 card cube that Ollie and I made that was largely, at least initially, made of completely new Magic cards. Cards that didn't exist. Now, as we early on, as we were going through this, we realized, hey, we probably just want to use cards that we think are essentially perfect Magic cards that we don't need to change, and we can just use them as is. So it ended up being probably about 15% real Magic cards, maybe a little between 10 and 15%, and then about 85 to 90% custom cards. So a lot of you have cubes or have played with a cube before. For those of you that haven't, a cube is a group of cards that you select to kind of create a limited environment, and then you play limited with the cube however you want. Sealed, draft. Usually you do it in segments of 360 cards, 540 cards, and then you pick your favorite cards in all of Magic, or you make it around a theme, and then you play with it like that. So what we wanted to talk about today is what and when are the best methods to introduce custom cards into your cube, and should you at all?
Yeah, I think the best time to introduce them is when you're trying to fill something up, right? You are more a cube designer than I am, but I imagine the best time to bring custom cards is like when you want to make mono black aggro work, or you want to make your weird combo deck work, or basically your fringe things that aren't fully supported by wizards,
existing cards,
or yeah. So probably say about existing cards, or maybe like an enchantment thing where you want to play more. You want to have more cards than just Argothian Enchantress and all those type of effects. You basically just make it 2 colors or 1 color or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best time to add custom cards. But some of my favorite custom cards have also been the ones that you draft face up and they do something. Those have been really fun and interesting just to have an option to pick.
So things that are more outside of the box. So I agree. I think that there's 2 paths you can take for custom cards in Cube. One, and this is the one that I think is the most common, and I personally believe is the best use, and this is what I'm going to call the hole filler. You're trying to make an archetype successful, and it's close. You're like, there's just like not quite enough black aggro cards, but I really want to support black aggro, and there's a lot of real cards that existing cards that I think are really great, but those cards aren't good just because there's not enough of them. Okay, so you design a small handful of custom cards, 2, 3, 4 for this archetype. Then the archetype's able to be successful. You can do that all over the place. And then the other option is to make cards that are the archetype spawners. So something that has a large effect or a unique effect that kind of changes the dynamic of the draft when you see the card. And I think that's more along the lines of what Ollie's talking about with the second one.
Yep. Like there are some cards that it was like one card, like when you draft it, reveal it, and make sure put what pick this was. If it was like your 12th pick, it does 12 damage to a creature or something.
Yep.
And that's like, it's kind of cool. It'd be cool to have like that in card draw form, or if you pick this card super late, it can draw you 3 cards for 3 mana or something.
Yeah.
Or if you pick it midway, it's divination, or or early, it's it's draw 1. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Those cards I think are really interesting and fun, and you know where they're going, and then you can also know if it comes back to you, then if the people on the opposite side of you aren't in blue or whatever the card does is.
So the original card you're talking about is Garbage Fire from Conspiracy 2. So kind of making an analog to that, just to keep everybody on board.
Also, Booster Tutor has been one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, it's a great card. Booster Tutor's a great card.
Booster Tutor, the way we've played it, or I've seen it played countless times, is whenever it's 1 black, it says choose a pack and open it. But in Cube, you get to
Cube pack.
Yeah, Cube pack. So 15 random cards that are still in the cube, and you get to open the pack, reveal it, and then pick a card and put it in your hand. And that's just been so fun to play with. It's great. It's never. You think it's busted, but it's not busted. Actually, it's actually always been fine. And just good. Now,
I've seen a pack that is busted, but that's because if that ever happens, you just be like, look, you put the cards in the cube, so this can happen sometimes. But yeah. And I think trying to identify those, it's weird because I think custom cards can be a slippery slope, so you have to be really confident, or I guess you have to be really sure of your goals for the cube before you start going down that road. Because I think if you're like, you know what, I'm just going to start adding these, and you don't have a goal for it, if you're just adding them just because you are, I think that's when it can start to go off the rails, and you're like, oh, well, now like 40% of my cube is just custom cards. And if that's what you want, that's okay. But just keep in mind, anytime that you do that, like it does add more weight to the people that aren't you that you're playing with, the drafters. Because any card they haven't seen before is gonna be a little bit more difficult for them to interpret, or they got to read more cards, and it's harder for them to when they're playing the games, like, oh, there's all of these cards I don't even know how to play around because I don't know, they don't exist, they're not real cards, and I'm playing a bunch of real cards, and you hit me with this crazy thing.
Yep. I also want to say, be careful, because custom cards, other people usually don't take too kindly to custom cards, because if it's too powerful, like they're very quick to be like, this card's too strong.
Yeah.
Because Wizards didn't print it, and you maybe put it in your cube, and they think it's like too strong, but it's totally fine. So just be careful. Like Justin said, like if you have too many, and not only do people have to read it or get blown up by it because they know what it does, or they weren't ready for it. But at the same time, it's people like to blame their faults or losses on other things.
The card's OP.
Yeah, that's the word.
Or
the abbreviation.
Yeah, our least favorite. Yeah, people telling us that the cards we were designing were overpowered was like the thing that we hated the most as we were embarking on this endeavor to make this custom cube. And it's just something you have to realize that it's always, unless you have the most warm and welcoming play group, that it's always going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, people, when cards are printed for real, people will be like, "Oh, this is too good," but they also shrug their shoulders and go like, "But it's a real card, so it doesn't matter."
Yeah.
When you're making custom cards,
and they're also wrong a lot too. Like I remember
mostly
Mission Briefing
wrong, I would say.
Yeah, when Mission Briefing was spoiled, the card like was pre-selling for like $15. Well, anyways, a lot. And the card's like unplayable, but people thought it was like broken because it's like Snapcaster Mage, and it's not at all like Snapcaster Mage. So people aren't very good at evaluating. The average Magic player is not good at evaluating cards.
Here's a good example. Mission Briefing pre-sold for $15. Arclight Phoenix $3.
Yep, perfect example.
It's difficult for whatever reason. And by the way, I just want to point out, these were both pre-sale prices that we had at Star City Games. So it's not like I'm saying that we're smarter than everyone else. I mean, I did try to convince everyone. I cried from the rooftops about Arclight Phoenix from the beginning, but went on deaf ears. And ultimately, I could say, hey, we need to raise the price of this card. But then if I look at our sales and we're like, oh, well, the card's not even selling at $3, like, how can we increase the price of the card if it's already not selling? Like, that doesn't do it. That doesn't get us anywhere. So anyway, that's beside the point. But point being, yeah, Magic players are notoriously very vocal and very dumb when it comes to evaluations.
Yeah.
And when you're working with custom cards, that's like intensified tenfold. Which is that's why I was saying you really need to have a plan. Like, what am I doing with these custom cards? What is the goal? One of the things that I see people do is when they're like, I want to have a non-traditional cube. I want to have a cube that's not just 100% single copies of real Magic cards. One of the things you can do is remove the singleton rule. So let's say I want to make Black Aggro good. Well, the card that exists that really helps me make Black Aggro good is Gravecrawler, right? So I just actually want 3 Gravecrawlers in this cube. I don't need to make more cards. I just have more copies. And you're kind of going down the same path. And as long as that's okay with you and you understand that and your drafters understand that, then that's probably going to be fine. But just know, the farther you deviate away from the assumed regular path, which is one of every card, only real Magic cards, the more work you have to do to make sure that everyone accepts that this is what's happening. And custom cards is in the same vein, though, like Ollie said, more difficult because Magic players card evaluating, they're going to complain, not good enough, too good. It's difficult to select the porridge that's just right. Even if you're shoving it in their face and you're like, this is perfect. This porridge is perfect. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. Just eat it. And you're like,
nope.
Nah, it's too
I don't
cold.
wanna.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get me fired up about this porridge. Anyway, so I think that, and we haven't even talked about the design of custom cards, and that's not. We're probably not going to go really too far into that in this segment, just because that's a. Then we're talking about designing cards, not even just custom cards, but just card design in general. Which obviously Ollie and I don't work for Wizards, but we have designed a lot of Magic cards, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Obviously, we're biased, but one thing to keep in mind is you, especially if you're a solitary cube designer, when you're only working with yourself, you need to create scenarios where you're able to test the cards. That's probably going to mean making mock decks, draft decks, but you have to be careful that they're not too good, because you can't be like, oh, someone drafted the perfect mono black aggro deck where they got every single mono black aggro card, and then test that against other decks, because your chances are you're not going to have a chance to test all of these cards, tweaking all of the numbers, Does this need to have one more power, one less toughness? Does it need to change from the generic mana to a colored mana? Does it need to have this ability or a smaller number on this ability? And that's just for like a creature. You know, planeswalkers are almost impossible. They're by far the hardest things to design. So kudos to Wizards for War of the Spark, or probably kudos. They could royally mess it up, but I have faith in them.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure we'll talk about that next week after we get... by the way, 16 cards are going to be revealed at PAX East.
Yeah.
We know that. Anyway. But it's a process. And
it is.
Again, this is why you have to know what you're getting yourself into. You have to decide if you want to use them, how far you're going to go, and know that it's going to be a significant amount of time and effort. Any way you slice it. And if it's not a significant amount of time and effort, you're either much smarter than I am and much smarter than Ali is, or you're probably not spending enough time on it.
Yep.
Do you have what else do you have about custom cards and cubes, Ali?
I think I'm good actually on this one.
Okay. All right. If you guys, cube is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I know that Ollie also loves cubing. He probably is more of a cube player than a cube designer. But I know he loves to cube, and talking about cube is something that we would enjoy to do. So if you guys like cube related stuff, I want to hear more about that, then definitely let us know. Let us know on Twitter, let us know in the Discord. Send us an email. Send us a carrier pigeon with a handwritten note. I'll tell you, if you send us a carrier pigeon with a handwritten note, we're probably going to listen more, because that took some effort.
Oh my God. Yes, please.
Yeah,
please do it.
Take some effort for sure. But yeah, I think we're good for this right now.
All right. Next up, stay tuned, because next up we're going to talk about Us, Justin and I.
Me? Okay, cool.
No, the movie Us. We watched that this week or last week. Hopefully, you watched it too.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned.
I got 5 on it.
It's a catchy song, by the way.
5 on it? It's a great song.
It is, yeah.
It's great 90s song.
It is, yeah.
So,
I forgot about it. Then when it came back, I was like, yeah, nostalgia.
Yeah, they got me. They drug me on in with nostalgia. So
they drug you on in, because the song's about drugs.
They did, yeah. It is about drugs.
Yeah.
But it has another meaning in this movie. We'll get to that later. Anyway, Ollie and I, and hopefully most of you, went to the theaters and watched the Jordan Peele written and directed horror thriller Us.
Aaron. Oh, Us, sorry.
Yes. No. I think it's crazy that... So Jordan Peele is, I would say, most recently known for writing and directing Get Out, which was 2017 horror movie that was fantastic. But for the whole... Prior to that, his career, he's been known for comedy. And... it's a little crazy to me that, like, after watching Get Out and after watching this movie and knowing that he's going to be rebooting the Twilight Zone and having essentially like full creative control over that, this is his calling.
Yeah.
This is what he's supposed to be doing. It's not comedy. And he's funny, but this is his most powerful form.
Things like I thought he was talented before,
yeah,
but he's definitely talented. Like after watching Get Out.
Yep. All right, so Us. Ollie, you want to start or you want me to start?
You start.
All right. So the thing that I'm going to do at the beginning of these, for both our sake and your sake, is I'm just going to read the synopsis of the movie. This will kind of help Ollie determine what he can say in spoilers and non-spoilers, and to give everyone that hasn't watched it a good idea of the movie. So, and this is the official synopsis from the studio. Accompanied by her husband, son, and daughter, Adelaide Wilson returns to the beachfront home where she grew up as a child. Haunted by a traumatic experience from the past, Adelaide grows increasingly concerned that something bad is going to happen. Her worst fears soon become a reality when 4 masked strangers descend upon the house, forcing the Wilsons into a fight for survival. When the masks come off, the family is horrified to learn that each attacker takes the appearance of one of them.
Yeah, so it's like you are in a house, and then a family comes to your house uninvited, and it's just like you, like your doppelganger, and they're basically attacking you and trying to take your place by killing you. Is what the preview.
That is the premise of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Where to start?
Well, I mean, I was on the edge of my seat for a long time there. Like in the very beginning, like it was suspenseful, which was nice. It was like, but more so than normal movies. Then it had some jump scares too, but they weren't really cheesy, but they were just good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, no, it did keep me like asking questions and paying attention to the movie and trying to pick up on everything I could, and it was also entertaining in the beginning, and then I got confused.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll stop there. Yeah.
So the 2 leads in this movie are Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke, who are both actors that had not starring roles, but kind of the next step down in Black Panther. So if you recognize them, that is probably where you recognize them from. They're both great. They're completely fantastic in this movie. I think the acting is pretty good across the entire movie. Just due to the way the movie is set up, most of the actors are playing more than one character, obviously. I think that recently we as a culture have been blessed with great horror movies. I think there's been a lot of really good horror movies in the last 3 or 4 years. The ones we've talked about in this podcast, this one, obviously we're talking about now, but we talked about It. We've talked about A Quiet Place, Get Out previously. There's just been a lot of good horror movies recently, and this is, in my opinion, is another good one. I think the score of this movie with the music is great. It certainly, as in music is really usually an important part of the horror genre, because it helps you determine how you should feel. And this movie does a really, really good job of not only having the musical tones, but actual music that's playing in the movie. Not only that we can hear, but a lot of times that the characters can hear that have a really great effect. There's a ton of things to pay attention to in this movie. And as we get into spoilers, we'll talk about some more of those, but if you haven't seen this movie yet, the more you pay attention, the more you'll get out of it as the movie goes along. But it's kind of, in a lot of ways, it's kind of tricking you to pay attention to the wrong thing or to not pay attention to something. And usually, the more you pay attention, the more you pick up on stuff, the more enjoyable this movie is, in my opinion, at least. And I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff, but I think I picked up on a handful at least. After the movie was over, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this movie.
I did too. Probably the most.
Yeah.
Probably the I've been moving recent memory. This is the one I thought about the most. I guess the one before this I thought about equally.
Annihilation.
Was Annihilation?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. I think since Annihilation, which was about a year ago now, this is the movie I've definitely thought about the most since then. And that was Ali and I's one of our favorite movies. I think my second favorite movie of the year last year, and Ollie's first favorite.
Yeah.
So good company for that. So Ollie, what are you rating this movie?
I'm close to a 2 or I'm between 2 and a 3.
Okay.
I do think it's better than Clefairy Paradox. Give 2.5. 2.5.
Damn it. Pick one.
Nope. I'm the co-host. 2.5.
Oh my
Always
god.
2.5.
We're not doing halves.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm giving it.
All right, well fine.
If you want to round up, you can round up. But I picked 2.5.
I'm doubling your score then.
You can get 5?
I love this movie.
Okay, nice.
I thought it was great. I will say, if you're listening to this, the genre of movie that I think that ultimately that I enjoy the most, that I'm the most biased on, is horror. So just know that if you're listening to me talk about this movie, that this movie was great. I think it's a great horror movie. I love good horror movies, and this is a good one. That is certainly going to affect how I think people feel about this movie. But I thought it was great. And I think this, in my opinion, this is my favorite movie that I've watched this year. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready to
I think it was great.
give my opinion.
I understand.
But I can't give my two.
I know. All right, let's get into spoilers.
Okay. I'll just people that aren't into spoilers right now.
Okay.
I can't give you why I gave 2.5 until later. But anyways, spoilers.
There's a lot you can't know about this movie until you watch the movie.
Yeah.
So now if you haven't watched it, you have to either listen to me or you have to listen to Ali to determine whether you want to watch it or not.
Okay.
Do you think people should watch it?
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it, but
Well,
yeah, I think
I'm asking you if you would recommend it.
No, I would not recommend it.
Okay. So if you have $12 and you're going to go see a movie in the theater, don't spend it on this, is what Ali said.
Correct. Yes.
I say spend it on it. But, all right. Ready?
Ready. Where's spoiler warning?
Spoiler warning.
Okay, we're in.
warning.
I was doing that because Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, got it. Okay, I'll make sure.
Yeah.
We get one cuss word because per podcast, right?
Well, I don't know. You just made it so we can do half points. You honestly, Ollie, you usually say one on accident and then try to cover it up.
I usually say what?
You usually say one on accident and then try to cover it up like a second later. So
yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Just say what you're gonna say.
It was bullshit. It was bullshit.
Why?
The ending was just like, not the ending. God, man, the movie was 100% 5 stars for me going in. Like the concept of it was great. What was happening to the girl and the family was awesome. Then you see them creeping on the house, and the dad's all like, "Yeah, it's just it's nobody," but he's wrong.
Trying to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like they go in, and then like the way they're acting is super creepy and super like scary. The kid is super weird. The daughter, the twin daughter is like constantly smiling. It's like creepy, and they don't really speak English. Like it was like seriously like a 5 for me. It was so good. And then it just like starts, in my opinion or my eyes, starts getting like overly confusing and and then like having all these like
A lot of
things
metaphor.
and analogy, huh?
A lot of metaphor for sure in this
Yes,
movie.
that's what I'm looking for. I started having all these like tons and tons of metaphors. And it's like I kind of like lost track of like I was like, what's going on? What are you doing? And then it goes from like this awesome horror movie that's like gripped me in to like, here, learn this instead. This is about so and so, and like I did not want to look at internet things of what this meant. I wanted to analyze it myself.
Oh, sure. I did the same thing. Yeah.
And after doing it for so long, I was just like, it just doesn't make sense. Like maybe I didn't get it. My brain's not big enough, but essentially, like, where'd all those scissors come from? Where'd all the gloves come from?
That's
Where
fair.
like how they orchestrate this entire thing without practice, and then like just so many things that were just didn't make sense. I like, and then like the rabbit thing, I assume like maybe it's rabbits because
I think the rabbit thing I get.
I don't know the rabbit thing. I thought it's because maybe they breed fast, so you can just like eat them. That's like, see, like this is why I took away from it. Maybe this is why I gave it such a low rating, because like I had to think like so hard, and I was still very much like, this is just stupid.
That's what I think. That's part of why I loved it, though.
Okay, why don't you explain the?
Well, one, I want to address something you said. I completely agree with you that you should not, any person should not go to a movie and upon finishing the movie feel like they need to research things in the movie further. I don't think that's something that movies should require of you. And I think if a movie does that, it has failed in its goal in the film viewing experience.
For me, it did that, and not only that, but it took away what I felt was something that was really, really good, and made it into something that was like, show a metaphor for slaves, and we're all tethered, and we can't escape our past, and whatever we're trying to portray. Because I still don't get it, but I can kind of understand maybe what it's trying to do, but it's like you gave me this like really great thing, and took it away. And maybe try to connect it to something else that's not there. Basically like allegory of the cave type deal. It's just like, it's deep, but it's not deep in a way that I want it to be deep. So when you compare it to Annihilation, I was like, Annihilation, I was thinking about it because I understood what happened. It was plain what happened, but there's so much more going on that made you like think and wonder and like want to know. Well, this one was just like, there's some things that were just literally unrealistic. Like, obviously, Annihilation is unrealistic, but like, that was a sci-fi movie. This is, I understand it's horror, but it had like a lot of things that were just like.
I think there was a lot of sci-fi elements.
But there were a lot of things too that were just like, didn't really make sense.
A lot of things that you couldn't explain with science.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or facts, or whatever.
Yeah, I think, well, and that's the thing, like, that's the difference between sci-fi and fantasy. Fantasy is magic where the movie just gets to explain away why something happens. Why is, for King Arthur, that story, why is the sword stuck in the stone? Why can no one pull it out of the stone? Well, it's magic. It's not a science reason. Yeah. Why in Star Wars how do lightsabers work? Well, there's these crystals that emit light, and the lightsabers are
sure. I get it. I get it. I get it.
That's science fiction where you can explain it away. It's fantasy.
Yes.
It's just like, this is magic, and you just say, okay, we don't have an explanation. Just this is in this world how it works. I do think that this movie was trying to be more science fiction, but they didn't explain enough to make it science fiction, where it was just like, there are questions that I had.
Well, real quick, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You. Before I forget, one thing that this is where my derail started happening, where I was like on the train, I was 5-star, then it started derailing. It very briefly started when the kid is on the beach. She kind of freaks out when he escapes, or not escapes, but goes to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he's coming back, and he sees like the scarecrow with a human body on it, or whatever, and it's like bleeding.
Yeah.
What the frick?
What?
Like, no one noticed that? No one noticed the scarecrow?
It wasn't a scarecrow, it was a person.
Not a scarecrow. Yeah, no one noticed that. Just like in the beach, no big deal. And then like, I looked over that. I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'll look over because the rest of it is still pretty good. And then like,
well, we don't know that no one overlooked it. They just weren't noticing in the moment.
Right, but it was overlooked because otherwise the wife or the father would be like, man, can you believe we found that was there? I want to go home right now. Like,
yeah, they didn't see it.
But someone would have saw it, and it was Brett Parnell. Like, cops would have come up, someone would have screamed, and people would have gathered, and it would have been, would have caught on.
I don't know. It looked just like... Well, okay, so you know what ultimately that was, right?
No.
Okay, so that was... So as they were driving to the beach, they saw the homeless guy that had the Jeremiah 11:11 sign.
Yeah, that was him.
Well, the one, as they were driving to the beach, they saw that guy that was getting loaded into the ambulance. Right? You remember that?
Sure. Just explain it. Go
okay.
ahead. Just explain it.
So he was getting loaded into the ambulance, and this is what Adelaide saw when she was a little girl. Well, I guess she didn't really see it, but what Adelaide saw when she was a little girl, what you, the viewer, see Adelaide seeing as a little girl is that man, and this is now him older. He's dead, and he's getting loaded into ambulance. Looks like he's been murdered. On the beach, you see the guy that's in kind of the scarecrow-esque pose where he's holding his arms out when he's blood on his hands. That's because that was his doppelganger that killed him. And that was the first one that we see. That's why it was the same similar looking person dressed in the red sweatsuit, holding out hands, waiting for the other doppelgangers to come and join hands with him.
Okay. Still no one noticed the body. It's kind of crazy, but sure, I get it.
Well, what do you mean no one noticed the body? I mean, at that point, they just think it's just a homeless guy.
Dead, yeah, but I'm saying like, sure, I get it.
He wasn't dead.
All right. No, the one that was dead on the scarecrow pose was dead.
He wasn't what? On the beach?
Yeah.
He wasn't dead.
Where he was
I
hung
just
up like
explained it. No, that was just that was the doppelganger that had killed the other guy. That they found the other guy that had loaded him into the ambulance.
The one that was bleeding, the one the kid saw, was not dead.
He was not.
Not dead.
That was the doppelganger. He was bleeding.
Okay.
That wasn't his blood. He had just killed the other guy.
To me, it looked like he was like hung up on a cross and wasn't moving and was dead.
No, he was standing there with his arms held out.
That was later.
No, that was the moment that you're talking about on the beach.
Okay, maybe
he was standing there with, and you could see the blood dripping from his hand. He was standing there with his arms held out because he was waiting for the other doppelgangers to come up and join hands with him.
That one makes sense, yes. I remember seeing that, but also remember seeing a guy like on a cross type deal, like dead. You can see the head, but you saw the finger and it's bleeding. And that is what I remember seeing with a wooden thing. He was like staked to or whatever. Maybe that's why.
What part of the movie?
The beginning. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways,
like when she's a little girl.
No, on the beach. Where they go on the beach, and the kid goes to go to the bathroom.
The little boy.
The little boy goes to the bathroom. Yeah. He's coming back, and then, well, he notices the body, or whatever it is, first, but doesn't really look at it. Comes back, looks at it again, and then we zoom in into the finger part, and it's like drips blood.
Yeah, that's what I just explained. That was the guy. It wasn't a dead body. He wasn't on a cross or anything.
I thought it was a dead body. That's what I thought it was.
No, it was
on a cross.
It was not. It was just.
Okay. I get it.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. I'm saying that's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I was confused or whatever. But I'm saying like that's what I thought.
Okay.
Anyways, explain the other things.
The rabbits.
The rabbits and
rabbits.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rabbits. At first I was like, why rabbits? So rabbits are the first animal that scientists tried to clone. But it wasn't fully successful. With rabbits, they couldn't create like an exact clone. So the first successful clone that they made was like a lamb.
It was a goat.
Or a goat.
Yeah,
exactly, right? You remember this from like the late 90s?
Yes.
Yes, this was like a big thing when we were growing up. But they tried it on rabbits first.
It wasn't even here. It was yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They tried on rabbits first. Didn't exactly take. Like the DNA was similar, but they would act weird, and it wasn't like an exact replication. So that made sense because it's like all of these doppelgangers, the tethered, are clones of these other ones. So that was obviously that's a metaphor, which we're talking about. Scientifically, I have to imagine because rabbits are the easiest thing to breed, like you said, so they're able to exist on those. So
yeah, eat them live.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So what? I mean, I certainly have some questions that the movie just didn't explain, but I'm kind of like, to me, I enjoyed the movie enough. Like, it was interesting and suspenseful enough. I think it's just a good horror movie. I think the premise is terrifying.
Yes, I agree with that. But I feel like it ruined it for me with all the metaphor and everything else.
Okay, and that's fair. I'm not, because I think a lot of those things they can't explain away. Here's some questions I had that just don't get explained. Why? Where are the people that started this experiment? Like, do they just vanish? They do say at the beginning of the movie they're like there's hundreds of miles of tunnels. I assume this goes all underneath the entire United States. Does it underneath the entire world? Does everyone have a clone? How many clones is this?
How they get the DNA to clone them?
Yeah. Well, that, I mean, I assume you could get, like, if this is this giant, like, world-spanning government, multiple country government experiment, yeah, I could get that, where you get the clone when they're babies for a certain period of time, and then you go from there.
Sure, but that's still, like, kind of absurd.
Yeah. Like I said, we're venturing into magic rather than science fiction with a lot of this. How did it, so we learned obviously at the end of the movie that Adelaide and her clone switched places when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
But how was she able to organize all of this massive worldwide takeover?
And why was she the one that broke through? Like, why was she the one that was the other or the tether that broke through, was able to escape? And
yeah, how come she could go upstairs?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Why was she the one able to do that?
Also, even just physically, how did she get up those stairs?
I don't know.
That was an escalator going down. That's got to be tough.
For a kid,
yes.
Yeah,
for a kid, for sure.
Yeah.
How was she able to get up those stairs? I don't know. Like, I can understand why after that she could, even though I think, like, the magic of it is when you're down there and the good you is up, you've switched places and now you're the tethered one, so you're having to kind of do their motions that they're doing. But again,
even when they switched places, why couldn't she just, like, she was raised in normal world? Like, you think she was cuffed to the bed
initially, yeah.
How'd she get out of that? Who got her out?
Scientists, and presumably at that point.
Was a scientist?
I don't know. We never see any, but we have to assume they exist. Like, they don't, these beings don't just pop up.
But those beings existed.
They did, but they don't. But I agree. But I'm saying they didn't pop up from nowhere, so I have to assume, like, this is suspending my disbelief.
Sure. Okay. But then, even then, like, why did she stay down there?
And that's okay. So that's why I was saying this is kind of where, when they switch, then she becomes the tethered, where she is replicating the motions of the other one, real world. Yeah.
Sure.
But
why?
Yeah. Why? How? I don't know.
She's under there because
she's at some point. How do they ultimately get upstairs?
All of them.
Yeah.
How they all go from like being mindlessly ridiculous. Like, maybe Adelaide helped them, but, like, it was how, and also how none of them die. They all scissors. You're in America. We have guns. How?
I think a bunch of them. I think some of them had to have died.
Yeah, I imagine, but, like, you never see that. You never see a gun in the whole entire thing, and that's kind of crazy to me.
No,
but
which I liked. I think that certainly adds to the movie because I think guns are like the least
sure.
interesting. Yeah,
Easy way out, I guess. Yeah.
yeah,
Easy,
for
easy
sure,
kill,
for
easy,
sure.
Easy killing
And
machine.
also, like, look, everyone just doesn't have a gun. Like, we really only saw like 2 families, and we know that the Wilson family just didn't have a gun, and that makes total sense. We don't know that the other family, the white family that got murdered, didn't have a gun because they pretty much got offed before they knew it.
Yeah.
But either way,
And they're supposed, and they're supposed to be called the others. And also Jeremiah 11:11. That quote or that verse says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord: Behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry out unto me, I will hearken unto them." Basically, he's going to bring some disaster or evil to the world, and you'll ask for help, and then he will not answer. But that was on that guy multiple times. Like Jeremiah 11:11 was mentioned multiple times.
Yeah.
11:11 is also something
All
you make
over
a
the
wish, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. 11 is also something like if you see it, you make a wish. But I don't think that's related to.
Maybe it needed to be 11:11 for her to be in the same location that she was for them to come up from the underground. I don't know.
I remember it being 11:11 on a clock, and it was pointed out. I can't remember when it was.
It's in the beginning of the movie. It's right before the tethered show up.
Maybe something happened at 11:11. I don't know.
Yeah. I have to imagine it did. I think a lot of things had to align. So, in this movie, you're rooting for the family for the entirety of the movie, right?
Oh, yeah. Then they switched. But I was gonna say not only they switched, but she also got amnesia because she really thought she was not tethered. She thought she was actually Adelaide.
Yeah. Well, she was. Technically.
But she wasn't.
Yeah, but she wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, and she literally got amnesia, because she literally didn't remember. Didn't remember that from her whatever childhood.
I think as a child, if you're in that situation and you're switched, and even though she was one of the tethered and she switched places, and she's gone through this traumatic experience, I could understand that she at that point has been, grew up believing that she's this person, so then she kind of just becomes this person.
Yeah, but she seems like so evil. Like you remember the maze where she's just like smiling, and then you tell me she chokes out this other person, and then all of a sudden becomes like this docile amnesia. Like, okay, yeah, I'm just a child.
Well, I don't.
You are not.
Yeah, I mean, but that's when you're facing against another child. But then, like, I don't know. That I buy. I mean, I think that could happen.
And then the twist where they're fighting Adelaide at the very end, Adelaide, and the other, whatever you call tethered.
Yeah.
And then the original tethered kills the Adelaide, which is Adelaide.
Yeah, the original, the OG Adelaide, which we at this point we're believing was the tethered version.
See, that's the thing. You can't tell the difference. Maybe it's supposed to be the point.
It is supposed to be the point.
But anyways, so you kill one of them, kills the other one, and after she kills her, without even knowing or whatever, it's like she reaches around her neck, gets the key for the cuffs, and takes it off. Like not searching, just straight goes there. And how'd she know that? How'd she know the keys or the to unchain herself were right there?
Probably because that's where she would have put it.
But they're different.
I mean, they're not different.
Maybe, but at the same time, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of these things happen a lot. Like, it's a lot. It's everywhere. It's like, why this happened? And then I have to explain it away. Or somebody else has to explain it away. And, like, why rabbits? Where are the scientists? Where is this? How they get all the scissors? How they organize it? How they get out of there?
I don't know where the clothes or the scissors came from. I don't know where you're getting a million red jumpsuits in various sizes and a million right-handed leather gloves and a million pair of gold scissors.
When you're asking me to answer all those questions myself, it's frustrating.
You're right.
Especially when it's super vague. And at the very end, like the very end, just like was nail in the coffin. Like you're really gonna show me people across the whole entire America, over mountains, everything, just holding hands. Like, all right,
what are the helicopters doing?
Examining, looking. I don't know. I don't even know. Like, did they kill their clones? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
Exactly. It's even more questions.
But you know what?
For me, and I'm not poo-pooing. I'm just like, I'm just frustrated.
Nothing you're saying is unfair. I'll agree with that. There's not anything that you've said that's unfair. I'm
just frustrated because I feel like I got an awesome movie in the beginning that was fantastic and I loved it, and it became this like homework. It became homework.
Okay, that's fair. I love this movie because I think that it's a beautiful movie. I think a lot of the scenes are shot awesome. Like the scene at the very end when Adelaide and the tethered version are fighting, and they're like interweaving it with like showing them like dancing, and she's just like very loosely just moving out of the way as she's trying to hit her with this.
Oh yeah, that was art. That was good.
It was beautiful, and they have.
It was. That was art.
I got 5 on it, but they've redone the song so it's like this horror ballad playing in the background, and it's just like this. Oh man, I don't know. It's just like this is a great movie moment. It's fantastic. It looks awesome. It feels awesome. I'm not worried about all this other stuff that's going on.
And I agree, and that's why the crash for me was so hard. Because it was so awesome. Then like you did all these little things that like just add up.
See, I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed all the other stuff that those things didn't bother me enough. Like I still question
the first couple didn't. The first couple didn't. But it just stacked too high for me.
Okay. I'm surprised it knocked it down that much for you, because like I really.
It's because I got. I'm more emotional than you are.
Yeah.
So like it affects me more so when I feel like I've been like betrayed or, I don't know. I felt like negative, like I felt like not. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like you gave me something really nice and cool and exciting, and then you took it away and gave me a napkin. Like here's your gift. Here's your gift. Instead of a computer, here's a napkin. But this napkin can be the computer if you turn it upside down and fold it into a square and then to a circle and then throw it outside. Like what? Give me back the computer. No, this napkin, I'm telling you, it's better. And it can be the computer. You just gotta do all this stuff first. I'm just like, all right, I'm done.
Did the end change how you felt about the characters?
When they're riding the car and the kid looks at her and realizes that it's not her.
Yeah.
No, like did it make a change how I felt about them?
About the characters, not the movie, but the characters in the movie, because like
I gained a lot of respect for the kid.
Yeah, because the kid figured
a lot of respect for the kid. Yeah, well, he was just smart the whole entire time.
Yeah,
like and also
that kid was the smartest one,
and he was more. Yeah, he was, and he was also the quieter, but he also seemed more connected to his tethered because he was able to control it.
Yep, unlike
others.
Yep.
He seemed more in sync, even though he seemed not in sync as in real life.
Yeah. I think that, I don't know, I just think it's a really interesting thought of you're rooting for this family, and then you realize at the end that one of the family members is actually one of the tethered initially, but they're still not, because they're still the person that they have been the entire time. And then it's like, you're rooting against the people in the red, the tethered, until you realize, wait, this was the actual person. So now who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for anyone? Does it suck for everyone?
Instead for me, it was like, so your past obviously makes you who you are, but should you be completely judged by your past and what you did in the past? It was kind of like that dynamic for me is what I felt.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so she did all these awful things when she was a kid, but now she's this woman that has a family, and she's obviously who she is because of what she did. Like she's literally in her spot because of what she did.
She made a better life for herself based on her decision. at the
Yes.
sacrifice of another person.
Right, but yeah. And but as a kid, so it's kind of hard to like, condemn somebody for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you are who you are because your past actions, but should you also be condemned because of your past actions when you are like a child?
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying? It's been so long. It's been like for like so long, and like you've obviously changed. You obviously changed who you are. It's like it's like somebody like 50 years old going for your president, and someone finds this tweet they tweeted and they're like 22. It's like, okay, he can't run for president anymore, even though he's more than qualified and he's definitely changed in the past like the 20 whatever years.
Yeah.
So it's like that for me is what I took away from at the very end. Is like how much the past does define you. You're literally where you are and who you are because of the past, but should you also be condemned because of the past?
Yeah.
And I think no, obviously, because I'm biased. I'm a little biased there, but I think no.
Sure. But then on the other side, the original Adelaide.
I think the kid saw that. But I think the kid saw that too, though. Like the kid like looked at her. He's like, okay, I know what you are or what you were,
but you're still mom.
But exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he like accepted that too.
Yeah. But I mean, like then on the other side, the original Adelaide that got drugged down and spent, 25 years in the underneath area.
Right.
And it's like you can't not root for her either because she literally had everything taken away her whole life. And she has this monologue earlier in the movie where she's like, I was forced to do what you did, but I had to, when you found Gabe, I found whoever this one is, and we were forced together, and I've been eating raw rabbit for my whole life, and I'm you, but I'm all of the things that you don't have, all the terrible things. I have to have all of those. And it's like, man, she had this, but she had it ripped away from her for this character that you're rooting for.
Yeah.
So like there's no winners. Like you can't not root for any of them. Like they're just in terrible situations.
Yeah, I just want to say, when I say I like the one that got away at the very end was fine. Like she's changed. I'm going off metaphor here. I'm not going off like, yeah, if someone kills somebody and then changes 20 years later, it's okay. No, like I'm doing the metaphor thing where people do stupid things when they're younger or things that's wrong and they change. I'm not going off like somebody damaged somebody else's life completely. It's okay now though. I'm doing the metaphor thing, which is this movie is entirely about. It's all metaphors.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the whole past thing. Yeah. So yeah. So I'm going like what the past is. It is who you are again. Defines you, how you think, how you behave. But I don't think you should be like condemned because of the past. Not going exactly what happened in this movie, just in general.
Next week's topic: Netflix first 6 episodes of Love, Death, and Robots. But Ollie, this is the end of the show, so it's time for question of the week.
Yep.
We'll be back in a minute just to ask about that. Ollie.
Question of the week.
Yeah, that was weak.
Question of the week. Question of the week.
There you go. That was much better. All right, Ollie, this is a simple question, obviously. I know you have been thinking a lot about this. So we're talking about Planeswalkers, so we're going to be asking a bunch of Planeswalker-related questions for the foreseeable future because Planeswalkers are great. So which Planeswalker would be the worst poker player?
Angrath.
Damn it. It is Angrath.
It's definitely Angrath. He is, if you read the lore, he is super impatient. He'll get to a point where he gets so frustrated or impatient, he'll be like, hellfire and brimstone. I don't care. I give up. And like just throws a card and kills everybody.
Yeah.
Or just doesn't care. Slams the table and just gets up and leaves. Angrath has actually become my favorite planeswalker.
He's one of mine
Even
too.
he's taken my first spot because of how much of a butthole or asshole he is to everybody else, but deep down, he goes back home and he's crying because he hasn't seen his daughters forever. He's this soft man that's had to become hard, and
Because of the situations around him. Yeah.
exactly.
He's still got a short temper though, which make him a bad poker
does.
player.
I agree. He's impatient and very short temper.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, and I was going through and I was like, well, a lot of planeswalkers would be pretty good at poker. Jace obviously can read your mind. Dak Faden, once you when you deal the cards out, he can hold them, and anything he touches, he can learn the history of it of what it is. So I think based on that, he could probably do some kind of card counting.
Sure. Yeah.
And he could kind of figure it out.
After Angrath, I think it has to be a White Walker.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gideon.
Yeah, genre Gideon. I agree.
I think Gideon because Gideon's too trustworthy.
Yep, and too easy to read, and he would never lie or bluff.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah. That was my second. That was my second option, but it's just Angrath.
That was mine too.
Best poker player other than Jace, I think would be Ashiok, because Ashiok has the best poker face.
Yeah, originally for some reason I thought Lazav, but he's not a planeswalker.
No. Yeah, so
Ashiok does have the best poker face.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Gideon. I think Gideon is the second choice.
Actually, I think Ugin would be better than Ashiok though. Honestly, Ugin, he comes off as like innocent and just wrecks you.
No, I think that's like. I don't think does Ugin come off as innocent, because Ugin's a dragon, so.
It comes off as a good guy.
Oh,
he's
lull
manipulative.
you into a false sense of security, maybe.
Yes, make you like, I guess I'll call you, but I'm not really sure. Whatever. I gotta go home anyways. Then you like, haha, got him. Then he has like a straight or whatever.
Yeah. I'll change my answer to Gideon, because I think that as a poker player, Angrath would be better than Gideon. I think Gideon would be a worse player, but Angrath's much easier to read.
Yeah, or he just doesn't want to play. Angrath's is the one person that probably just doesn't want to be there.
You have to play. They're playing poker, okay?
Sure.
Play poker, but he doesn't play poker. But I think if you get Angrath a couple of times, he's going to be upset. But Gideon is you're going to take his money all night.
You are.
Yeah, that probably makes him the worst poker player.
Yep, too innocent.
Yeah,
too good.
Yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with my answer.
Okay, me too.
All right, Ollie, where can people find you?
Twitter.com, Twitch.tv, /Ali Aintrazi. You can find me on YouTube with Cool Stuff Inc. and on Thinktwice.
So you can also find me on Twitter at jparnell1 on Twitter, Star City Games, and the twitch.tv/jparnell. But as I talked about last week, I did some research. On Tuesdays, I stream 8 p.m. at twitch.tv/jparnell. Ollie streams twitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi at the same time. So what you should do on Tuesdays is go to multitwitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi/jparnell. That lets you watch both of our streams on the same screen at the same time.
Mind blown.
Multitwitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi/jparnell. Watch them both.
Same time.
Crazy world we live in. If you want to contact the show, on Twitter at ThinktwiceMTG and at gmail.com, ThinktwiceMTG@gmail. If you want to find the show, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Spotify, Podbean, now leave us a review, a like, a share, a subscribe. We enjoy all of that stuff. And of course, if you want to find our stream highlights and this podcast, you can go to youtube.com/ThinkTwiceMTG. If you want to support the show further, go to patreon.com/ThinkTwiceMTG. Again, our March flashback episode is going to feature Stephen Green of Commander versus fame. We're all going to be talking about Game of Thrones. Great. You should definitely get in now if you can. We have a new patron, Basic Swamp. Basic Swamp, thank you. You are the best Basic Land. I'll give you that.
I like Basic Swamp.
Basic Swamp's good.
I like Forest. I like Forest a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Basic Swamp, though. I think that's the most powerful. Anyway, Ollie, we have 2 animal pictures of the week.
We do.
We've selected them. Do you want to say yours, or do you want me to say mine first?
You say them. You say them both.
Say them both? Okay. All right. So we have selected Freddy, who is Rutro Raggy's adorable pupper. Freddy has 2 different color eyes, a brown eye and a blue eye, which makes him extremely beautiful. In this picture, Freddy just got taken on a walk. Looks very excited, happy but worn out, but very excited. Got to go for a walk. And then in the second picture, we have Cardboard Lloyd's Kitty Sawyer, who it's like the best lighting possible for this picture. It's like there's shadows all around Sawyer, and Sawyer's sitting here on the tile floor looking up like, yeah, I'd look good. I know it looked good.
I know.
It's some good light. Lighting helps. It's a great picture.
It does.
So Freddy and Sawyer, those are our 2 animal pictures of the week. We want to thank our director and producer, John Che, our Agent of Bolus producers, Daniel Hunt, Matt Lindell. Remind everyone, next week's topic, Love, Death, Robots on Netflix. First 6 episodes only. We'll talk about that next week. multitwitch.tv/Ali Aintrazi/Parnell. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Do that. Otherwise, you can always just watch Ollie. He's streaming all the time. Ollie?
Do that or be square.
I love you, buddy. Thank you for being the best co-host.
Love you, Justin. Love you all. Thank you. Have a good night, and we'll see you all next week.